Hello and welcome back to Parts Talk. I'm your host, Chris Clark. Today's episode, we sit with Asim Ramzam, an experienced service writer / service advisor. Asim shares his love, passion, and understanding of what it is to be customer-centric. You can find the full video of this interview on my YouTube channel, Parts Manager Professional. Remember to like and share this podcast. Also, if you can, please make a donation using the link in the description. Let's begin our show. Good night and welcome to Parts Talk. Again, we interview individuals who work directly in the automotive industry, as well as individuals who have extended experience working in the industry. What we share their stories, we share their experiences, we share their know-how. And tonight's special guest is Asim Ramzam. Asim tonight is going to share a little bit of his experiences with us and let us know exactly what type of industry it is. I know a lot of people still think that you just bring a car in, you bring a car out, and they don't know what actually takes place behind the background. But at the same time now, we have various individuals and dealerships are located extensively across the world, right? Every country, everywhere, every part of the world you go, you have someone trading a car, selling a car, servicing a car. They distribute parts, they align themselves with services and everything. But enough rambling. Let's get right into it. Asim, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, tonight again, as we continue my series, Parts Talk. Tell us, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more of what you do and where we can find you at the end of this video.
Okay, so my name is Asim. I've been in the automotive industry for about 6.5 to 7 years. Worked in a few different dealerships for a couple of different brands. My role consisted of a service advisor as a point of contact for a client between getting their vehicle serviced. Mm-hmm. My work scope, it's consisted of the first point of contact with the client when they're bringing in their vehicle for service. So from greeting the customer to engaging in a friendly conversation, building relationships and guiding them into the right direction to make sure the vehicle is ready and equipped to be on the road.
Okay. So you worked in the capacity of a service writer, service advisor.
Yes.
Okay. And how has that been for you?
I came into the industry not knowing much at all about vehicles or the automotive industry. I had no interest in it, to be honest. But as my time grew with these companies, I did learn a lot, and I'm actually grateful for that. I did learn a lot about the industry, about vehicles, about how to maintain a vehicle. So mm-hmm. I really educated myself and got educated through the career that I've built with the automotive industry.
Okay. Nice to know, because it's relatively easy once you understand that not only that you only put gas in your vehicle and then drive. That's about it, right? Okay. Because a lot of people will tell you that's all they do. But at the same time, no. How did you learn? Who assisted you? How did you start?
Well, from the actual being trained by a service manager and other service advisor employees, I learned my way from them, the systems, the tools and resources they provided me through the internal universities and the little training guides and whatnot. So I learned through that, and obviously hands-on as well, seeing things in front of my face through technicians and the whole procedure and whatnot.
Okay. But before that, what was your specialty?
I actually came in the industry as a graduated student in law.
Okay.
And I had just graduated. I had tried a few career paths with that, and I just wanted to kind of have a change after 6 to 7 months of graduation. And
yes,
I kind of tapped into a newer industry through a friend and tried it out, and just wanted to see how it was going to go. And then 6 to 7 years later, I guess it went pretty well for the most part.
For the most part, yes. It's really exciting once you put your mind to it and you develop a passion for it. It's exciting, very exciting to be amongst different people, different brands, different cars, see the different processes that takes place. But as we move forward now, what were some of the challenges you encountered while dealing with the industry? Just beginning, I know that you will encounter some challenges, and at the same time now you will probably be frustrated with some of the processes, but 6, 7 years later, you're still here. But if you can just relate to us, what were some of the challenges?
Well, first of few challenges was, I guess, satisfying your management and your colleagues and whatnot, and meeting certain quotas, and still being
Right.
able to make sure your clientele is satisfied as well, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, you want to stay true. I feel like I was maintaining my authenticity, and remaining true to myself and my clients. And I mean, it was challenging at times to maintain a certain quota and still keeping your bosses and clients happy at the same
Yes.
time, because
Yes. Yes.
you want to, yes, so you want to build that relationship where they trust you as a customer or client and with your vehicle. But if they're spending lots and thousands of dollars every time they come in, I mean,
Mhm.
they're not too happy with spending that much money. But at the same time, you want to keep your bosses happy by meeting the quota and collecting that money. Or
Yes, because it's the industry is very target oriented.
yes,
Everything is target oriented, which they use a lot of KPIs, right? Cost of units sold, cost of unit service, all those different aspects goes into it at the same time. But how, I mean, it's been 6 to 7 years. That means you have probably seen a lot because the industry moves very fast. It's a very
hmm
fast-paced industry. How has operations changed since you started out?
well, I mean, operations, I feel like have changed in many ways. In the certain dealership that I started out at, the business model had evolved to a more quicker and more efficient way,
Hmm.
in terms of the what they were trying to implement. They were trying to implement a certain system to reduce time and make sure that customers or clients aren't waiting as long for their vehicle to be
Right,
serviced.
right,
Uh, I mean, what has also happened, they're embracing more responsibilities, like checking so I embrace, sorry, more responsibilities as an advisor. Maybe certain examples like checking the battery, the cabin filters, and kind of doing a little bit of a walk around more, that what the technician usually does in the beginning of the service, so save them time. So when
right.
they get the vehicle, they can start doing the service, like stuff like that. It's evolved. Technology's evolved on the vehicles and our
Yeah.
software that we use internally. So to kind of speed things up and, I mean, stay up with the evolution of technology.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because at the same time, they have to improve the processes at all times in order to improve service. Right? Service
Yeah.
delivery is one of the essential thing in the industry. At the same time, now you want to keep our customers happy. You have to keep them bringing their vehicle in, and you have to build that confidence for them coming back. As you
Yeah.
know, a lot of customers they leave right after the warranty period is up. But if you build that trust and let them know that, hey, you after a certain particular period of time, after a certain mileage, you need to do this, and this. At the same time, now how do you prevent that person from going to John Brown around the corner, right? And John
Definitely.
Brown may have a better credit facility available for that customer. So it's an ever changing time, right? But you mentioned you worked with a couple of brands. What were some of the brands that you're accustomed to?
Mostly for the longer part of my career with the automotive industry, I worked with Toyota.
Uh-huh.
I've moved around to a couple of Toyotas. I've worked at Mercedes for a little bit.
Okay.
And my last place where I worked at, before things went chaos in this world, was Hyundai.
Oh, Hyundai. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very short tenure there because obviously of everything that's going on right now.
Yes, 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 yes. I can understand. I can understand. It's really challenging times right now, and they always say the toughest and the fittest will survive this industry. But one of the things mentioning where we are now, because at the point of doing this interview, we're obviously experiencing COVID, right? But what are some of the defensive mechanism that's your current that have been employed to keep the doors open, if you don't mind sharing them with us?
Yeah, I mean, I've developed a lot of relationships with clients, like building that trust and making sure they get their vehicle serviced at a, I mean, timely manner and at a cost efficient. Obviously, helping them out with things like warranty and what's on their ECP and what can get them covered instead of them spending so much money out of pocket. So, after given that said, given after all that, building all that trust, obviously word of mouth. They've told their families, friends. So I've built up a little clientele. And I
Right.
mean, as I move dealerships, I feel like I've created a following. They've come with me to dealership so they can have my services and I can provide them with the services that they want to their satisfaction.
Right. 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 Because the trust is everything. Customer retention is everything. Right.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, as we move forward, as you know, the competition is very high, right? In
Hmm.
everything, you have to keep the profits. You have to keep both our customers happy, our shareholders happy,
Yes.
and yourself. You have to keep happy because I mean, you have to keep yourself happy. You have to keep yourself motivated at all
Yeah.
times. But because I know at times it is very stressful. It's a very stressful environment for some, especially you running around. You're on your toes. You're on your feet 24/7, especially during the busy time. Here in our part of the world, we have two seasons, right? Which is
Yeah.
summer
I,
and winter tire season, because those are the two seasons that people normally bring the car in, change the tires out, check their oils, check their lubricants. They don't want things to freeze over as it is. But one question I would like you to answer is, obviously you're enjoying yourself. After 7 years, you would have actually said, throw in the towel and walk away. But would you recommend this for someone who wants to walk into a dealership and say, hey, I want to try this? What's your recommendation to that person?
my recommendation would be if you have a long-term plan or a goal to reach the top, like I think your end goal would have to be a service manager at some point, right?
Right,
I
right,
mean, if you're looking for growth and evolving in this industry, you'd have to obviously evolve through the steps, and you want to go to the top. Because I feel like if you're going to stay in a certain role, um, I mean, I feel like there is a certain cap maybe of how far you can go. But if you want to achieve more, you'd have to obviously try to move to the top of the ladder by becoming, I mean, if you go from parts service advisor to a parts guy, you have to know all the ins and outs to a assistant manager to service manager. So I feel like if you want to start out with these industry and actually see results in terms of, I mean, if you want to feel financially strong, I feel like you'd have to move up for sure from just being a service advisor only and wanting to stay there. Do you think like that?
right, right. But that's only in the scope of there's if there is upward movement within that dealership. Because as you know,
Yeah.
some positions, the people never leave, right?
Yeah.
I
I
know
mean, I think
particularly in parts, people tend to stay in parts for a very long time.
yeah, I guess you hit a certain point where you get comfortable. But I mean, the job comes with a lot of stress. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of, I've always said this to a couple of friends of mine that you never know. It's a type of job you never know what type of day you're gonna have. You never
Yes,
know if you're gonna go in and you're gonna have a great day, smiles everywhere, have great customers, and go home happy, or you can have a day where someone else is upset. Customer always wins. They're yelling at you. Where's my car? What's this? What's that? And they take it out on you. That really changes it impacts your day for sure,
yes,
right? So you never
definitely.
know what type of day you're gonna have. You can have a crazy day, or you can have a light day, smooth day, but you never know. The unknown is that's the only frustration sometimes, actually.
Yeah, yeah, understandable. We all go through it, and it comes with the territory.
Absolutely.
So persons have to be widely aware that once you're going into a retail situation like that, and it also depends on the brand, because as you know, a Mercedes customer is different from a Toyota customer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the Toyota customer is different from a BMW customer. The BMW customer is different from someone who deals with Lamborghinis, and the list goes on, right?
Absolutely.
So it comes with the mindset. It comes with how your interpersonal skills and how you are trained to interact with these persons. But speaking of training, are there any recommended training for service advisors once you get into the company? What are some of the training that are issued?
That they provide. I mean, there's a lot of universities that I've done internally. They give you courses. I mean, it's free courses, but it's
Yeah.
just like certain just slides and stuff like that, and then with followed by quizzes to kind of test you, little certifications, and they give you all that. But I mean, aside from that, it's just hands-on training as you learn from the peers next to you, and just what they provide you in terms of training is just those universities internally. To be honest, that's all I've ever done.
Okay, okay. That's fair enough because the when I was in a particular position, there was also the scope of a competency profile that one has to fit in order to maintain that job. What they call it was a job fit personality. So there are, as you mentioned, there are certain courses that you have to undertake in order to maintain that position. But at the same time, now there are different attributes that you have to do in order to improve. As you know, they call it self-development, but self-development also occurs within the workplace itself to get it to a
Absolutely.
point of professionalism. So once you start interacting with that customer, it comes across as being professional at all times. A lot of people will have to learn how to code switch. You will be standing amongst your peers, you're acting a certain way, but once you go to the customer, I mean, you have to change it up. You
You
have
got
to
to put on that face, the customer service face, for
customer
sure.
service face exactly what it is. So professionalism is done at all times. But do we think is that a requirement coming into the job, or is it something that persons will have to work on a daily basis?
I mean, I feel like if you're going into any job like that and you're dealing with people and customer service, you should always go in professional because you want to ensure trust and build that relationship. Because if you're not professional, even just for an example, if you go to somebody at a store like and they're not being serious or they're not listening to you or they can't help you out with certain requirements or needs you have, then I mean you'd be upset and just go somewhere else, right? So I
Right.
think I think you should always go in with the mentality of being professional at all times, and put that face on as soon as you walk in through those doors, and
Yeah.
right after you leave and get in your vehicle to go home. I mean, take it right off.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you see yourself working in any other department otherwise from the service department?
Well, at the moment, sorry, I should have mentioned earlier. Like, once this COVID stuff did start, like I've been temporarily laid off of the industry, and I've started to include myself in other industries and kind of looking for new career paths. So I'm kind of holding off. I mean, as it gets better, I may go back. So I don't know yet,
Right.
but I don't think I feel comfortable right now at this point in my life with the family that I have, and now I have two children. If I really want to pursue with being a service advisor in this industry, so
Yeah.
just something I'm thinking about, not for sure yet, but I mean, I'm not 100% right now if I want to stay with this industry, that's for sure.
I know, I know, I know. I've dabbled in numerous different industries over the years, and I always seem to find myself coming back to the auto industry. It's just a passion. It's something that never leaves you, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, great work experience, met great people,
Yeah,
made great forever friends,
yeah, yeah,
mentors. So it's good to know that I did do this and to meet these certain people that I will forever know and forever keep as friends,
yeah,
and maybe and I learned a lot from them. So it was good. So that's what may keep me going back. Just like you said,
mhm,
it's a passion, and obviously the environment and the
yeah,
people you work with
mhm,
make it
mhm.
make it much easier to want to go back.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. You have to have that passion and that love for what you do.
Absolutely.
But the industry, it's still on fire. There is a shortage of vehicles. There's a demand more for more cars on the road, right?
Mhm.
It's because of the government regulations that are currently in place right now, limiting the amount of persons who can interact with each other, working alongside each other. So I know companies have to scale back because of the regulations that are in place in terms of staffing. But I know that right now they need help because
Yeah.
there is a demand right now. It doesn't matter what's going on. The economy cannot closes, right? The work has to go on. So I think as soon as this thing boils over, there's going to be a surge in demand again. And that's what always happens. So don't lose hope. I can
Yeah.
tell you, I can tell you that, and then with your experience, you'll just walk right into another dealership. They're always looking for something, believe it
Hey,
or
I'm
not.
not writing them off. I'm not writing off this as an option or a career path, but lots to think about. I mean, personal life with personal stuff, but I mean, no, no. I know things are changing and evolving in the industry, like the surge is going up in the demand, but let's see. Hopefully, all for the best, and hopefully, there would be an opportunity there. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, there's always an opportunity. But before we close, one last question. What recommendations would you have based on your experience working with different brands? Because I know that they have different processes in the way they do things. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it goes right back to one, customer service, two, service delivery, and three, profitability. That's what they want. But the fourth thing I want to add is improvement of processes,
Yep.
right? Not a lot of dealerships tend to want to improve their processes as they go along. If it ain't broken, they won't fix it. That's that's just what I've seen since I've been here. But the thing is, what were some of the what are some of the changes you would like to see?
Well, for me, like I said, I worked for Toyota and Mercedes, so two kind of different brands, right?
Yes,
Toyota more affordable, you get the more average society member to shop there than the more of the upper middle class that will shop at Mercedes.
right.
So, I mean, in terms of style, Toyota seemed like more of a casual from the approach, casual, even uniform, as opposed to Mercedes, where you're a little more professional and more upscale, wearing the tie, and you have a door opener, just a person that just works just to open the door for a
Just to open.
customer. You have your shuttle vehicles, which are like minivans that are like extended minivans, and they drive further out and kind of anywhere, as opposed to Toyota. There's certain boundaries where we don't drive out of to
Yeah.
drop a customer home and bring them back. So a little bit more of a casual style with Toyota. So their processes, I guess they're comfortable with that. And I mean, a cheaper vehicle, obviously, as opposed compared to Mercedes. So the approaches are a little different in terms of that. I guess it goes with what type of people what type of clientele you have.
One of Toyota's guiding pillars is continuous improvement. So because I was trained with them intensely, I know their processes inside out. But they're constantly improving, constantly finding new ways of doing things, constantly innovating, right?
Hmm.
And people actually study their system because they have a marketing system that if you get the chance to visit their factory in Japan, they have a system called the Toyota Way in sales and marketing. It's very intense, very very
Have you been there?
explainable.
Sorry.
The Toyota Way in sales and marketing, right? And they teach you about if you're in university and you're doing marketing, they teach you about the four basic principles of marketing, right? Which is the price, the product, the package. There's another one, but Toyota added two more, which is the process and the people. Without the people, you cannot drive the process. So some dealerships are people oriented, right? While others just see them as a means of getting the work done so they can move on to the next best thing. So let me not ramble too much about it, but the thing is that if a lot of dealerships employ the processes to improve as they go along, then you'll see vast changes. Well, in terms of how a lot of them do their things, because they do copy from each other, believe it or not, right?
Hmm.
There is
Hmm.
somebody who will probably, like yourself, you work with Toyota, then you go over to Mercedes, and then you bring over some of what you learned over there, and then
Your talents and
yeah,
absolutely,
and it goes vice versa, right?
absolutely.
In terms of warehouse processes, servicing, everything, it goes both ways. Because once you have an understanding of the system itself, you can basically work anywhere.
Yeah,
You can
absolutely. You
bas-
bring that skill, and obviously you can take it anywhere because, well, sorry, I just want to, I don't want to get off topic, but
yeah.
going back to your question, I'm going to compare it to, I've actually worked for two different Toyotas, so their
Okay.
processes were actually completely different.
Ah,
Um,
exactly. That was the point I was trying to allude to. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, so at one Toyota where I've learned a lot from and where I started, compared to the one where I worked after that, they had a different management system, a different way of doing things, a different way of their labor system in terms of techs and teams and
Yeah.
advisor being a teammate with the tech. Then in one Toyota, it was just you, everyone's your tech, and you're not really doing it on teams. There's one massive team. So different processes for everybody, but you're right, same business model, and they do learn off or copy off each other and stuff like that to kind of implement the same thing. So I mean, obviously the end goal is always the same, but the winner of the race is going to be the person who does the process before that much more
Exactly,
efficiently,
exactly. And
right?
I can guarantee you the of the two you mentioned, the one that is following the basic guideline processes is the one that is going to be more profitable, and the one that is higher in the ranking than the other one. I guarantee that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
don't ever don't ever move away from the basics. That's basically what it boils down to, right? Always stick to the basics. You try to innovate, you try to tweak it a little, but always go back to basics and start the process all over again,
Yeah.
right? So that's basically what it is. Always know exactly what needs to be done. But the you mentioned earlier you're weighing your mind whether to go back where the thing I hope that basically you get back in. It doesn't make sense you sit back and waste all this experiences and knowledge because the industry needs good people, right? In order for the industry to survive, it needs good people. It needs people who understands the processes. It needs people who can drive the processes, right? And persons with the experiences, they are the ones who should be given the chance. Too many times I've seen, because I've been in the industry over 20 years, I can relate to a lot of the things that I've seen over the last
A lot of different people.
a lot of different people, a lot of different places, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen people come, people go. I've seen they take people from who have basically no automotive skill, people out of banking, financing, legal, and they put them in positions that they're out of their depth in terms of what they're supposed to be doing, right? But that's a whole different story. We
Mhm.
probably have a we'll probably have a podcast, a whole different podcast with persons who saw different aspects of what happened behind the scenes, and we can all relate to it at another time. But Asim, I don't want to hold you too long. I thank you again for joining us. I want to do a follow up with you.
Yeah.
As soon as you get back in, we want to do a follow up to
Listen, we'll chat, man. I really appreciate this. It's been an honor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's been an honor to have you as well. So, with that said, tonight we had Asim Ramzan telling us some more about his experiences working in the auto industry. And we hope for him all the best, him and his family, as we navigate these challenging times through COVID. And we wish for everyone all the best. So, thank you and good night. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Remember to rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're leaving with a better understanding of the individuals who work in the auto industry. Until next time.